So any news on the status of the Vale?
Not since the last 5 times ye asked.
Well, excuse me for having concern about what's going to happen.
Yarg, what are we even doing? I'm a pirate, not a warrior. My strategy is to run away from the battles, not defend fortresses. And you be a butler. Your strategy is to sweep the ground and wash the dishes.
I also take out the trash, I'll have you know.
Aye, that be my point. We're here risking our necks for a land we don't even care about.
Because no matter how good or how bad a story is, it deserves to have a satisfying conclusion. And if we as gentlemen can help in that cause, then I'd say it's worth fighting for. Not for the now, but for the future. And if we allow evil to triumph, then that story will truly have an unsatisfying end.
You really just had to pull that motivational speech card, didn't ye?
How do you think I get Siege out of bed every morning? This is the Kulipari, episode 8.
The episode begins in a blank environment, as the armies of scorpions, lizards, are waiting impatiently as the arachnids cast their spell. And it is almost finished. It only needs one final push before the armies come and attack.
Which is why this letter is our only hope. Go! Fly north! And fly as if the devil was at your heels! Huh. For some reason, I really need to smack Commando in the face. Don't know why.
We later cut back to Daryl and the Kulipari as the Turtle King reveals backstory about the Spider Queen. Turns out she was his apprentice, and she vowed revenge against him because she felt like he was keeping secrets from her.
Well, the Kulipari are a little full of themselves, as they feel as though they could take on the whole army all by themselves. But Daryl tries to convince them that they need a good strategy in order to win. But of course the Mohawk frog acts like a complete jerk and tells him because he's not a Kulipari, he doesn't really have any say in the matter. And thus, that hurts Daryl's feelings.
Huh, judging someone based solely on their race. I'm not sure if they're white supremacists or SJWs.
Meow.
What'd you say, Leslie?
So the very next day, the Turtle King summons rides for the Kulipari so they can aid in the fight. But Daryl and Gee stay behind because Daryl's confidence is once again shaken.
But the Turtle King gives them advice in the form of a giant pearl, saying that even a grain of sand can turn into something beautiful. And he gives them the giant pearl because, heck, it's nothing more than a grain of sand.
Okay, I know he's trying his hardest, but the official Turtle King master of all time has gotta be Oogway.
Well, damn, if you're gonna compare him to Oogway, there's no contest.
We later cut back to the Amphibilands as the frogs are dealing with the calm before the storm, as they know war is upon them. And what the hell are those kids doing here? We're about to be in the middle of a fight! We later cut back to the Scorpion army as the spiders are finally ready to enact the final phase of their spell. Using all their power and might, they manage to create giant cracks in the veil. Not breaking it, but they're indeed doing a lot of damage. But the spell requires more energy than what the spiders are able to currently pull out. So there is still time before the inevitable battle.
Dalkin, da they find us, Sahin? Unduning daning da they find us. Okay, why is he speaking butchered Elvish?
I don't know, but it does sound kind of cool.
Well, after we cut back to Daryl and Gee, Daryl finally grows a pair again and says he wants to help his family, so he uses his turtle friend to summon a giant fish of his own. But he fails. Epically. But then Daryl tries it, and he manages to summon the biggest one out there.
But in fairness, the Turtle King helped him cheat. Nothing like using a bit of magic in order to get your way. We later cut back to Lord Mamu as he's getting his men sacked, as well as telling them the battle strategy of how they're going to take the Amphibilands. But don't think the frogs are just out of the fire yet, as Best Frog is also getting them hyped in order to prepare for the inevitable attack. And hopefully, they will survive. And what the hell are these kids doing on the battlefield? Seriously, somebody get their parents or something. This whole area is going to be a bloodbath.
We later cut back to the Kulipari as Daryl manages to catch up with them and showing them up in the most epic way possible.
And then it cuts immediately back to the Warfront. Well, as it turns out, breaking the magic of the veil was a lot more taxing than the Spider Queen originally anticipated. So she starts eating the scorpions in order to gain her strength back. And this makes Lord Mamu mad as he confronts her about it. But she uses logic against him, saying, "Do you want the veil to be destroyed or not?" And so he backs off.
But then the worst has come. For even though the veil hasn't fallen, there was enough juice there to open a door large enough for the scorpions to get through, at the price of sacrificing the limb that the scorpions managed to get. And even though Lord Mamu isn't too thrilled about a single opening, he alters his battle strategy in order to make use of the doorway they got.
So, any MacGuffins to speak of?
One, but he hasn't arrived yet.
So then what's the strategy?
I think it's obvious. We hold the line for as long as possible. For the honor of Grayskull!
Well, thankfully, the Kulipari and Daryl managed to make it to the land, and Mohawk Frog isn't too happy that he got showed up so easily by Daryl. But he's willing to take Daryl's advice and come up with a strategy of attack instead of just charging in head first, as most of the Kulipari agree with Daryl they need a freaking strategy if 4 frogs are going to try to take down an entire army. So, after listening to Daryl and his battle strategy, they race to the front lines in order to try to save the Amphibolans. And that was Kulipari Episode 8. And things are starting to finally get intense.
With 7 episodes of minimal action, we're finally getting the epic battle that we've been promised since episode 1.
And I'll finally be able to sink my teeth into something. I'm starving.
Meow. Indeed, it's time for the ultimate battle of the Amphibolans. So, until further notice, we're the Cartoon Gentlemen, and we'll see you next time.